You heard about the professors who were sued for posting classroom materials online?
Actually, the university was sued, but the issue is the same. The publishers are trying to restrict how we use their intellectual property.
Don't they have the right to sue? It's their property. They created it, so they must own it.
They do own it, but they have also should share it. Intellectual property is not the same as physical property.
The producers of intellectual property certainly do not agree. They call using intellectual property without payment stealing.
No, there are conditions where we are allowed to use intellectual property without asking permission or paying. No one could write a research paper if they had to ask permission every time they cited a piece of text. Thomas Jefferson wrote in the Constitution that the purpose of intellectual property was to further the progress of science and education.
It seems like everything we do nowadays is in violation of some intellectual property law. Can I copy materials and hand them out to my students?
It depends. Actually, it always depends. There are some provisions in law called fair use that can determine whether a use of intellectual property is legal.
So I have to call my lawyer every time I want to use intellectual property. I don't really have a lawyer.
It depends on how much you use, what is the purpose, whether you are making money, and whether the content creator is losing money.
And how do you decide all that? I know one thing. I'm not making any money from handing out stuff to my students.
It's very difficult. There aren't many court cases that you can use as precedents. You just have to figure it out.
I heard that there was a law that said you can hand out a certain amount one time, but the next time you have to pay royalties.
That wasn't actually a law. It was an agreement that was reached a number of years ago when the Copyright Act was revised. But there was nothing in the law that says exactly how much you can use or how many times you can use it.
I usually create a course pack and the students have to pay the royalties when they buy the copies.
Course packs are one area that there is a Supreme Court decision that established those rules.
I'm also an author, so I want laws to protect my intellectual property. I only sold 400 copies, but it's still mine.
You know, you're lucky you own that. When you work for the university, they own what you write. But they don't care about your royalties from the 400 copies. Then when you publish it, you may have to give your rights to the publisher.
So what can we do?
We have to educate ourselves and get involved in the debate. We can't rely on lawyers and politicians to help us.